Let's now delve into matters regarding the trade associations, because the Ghana Union of Trade Association has called on government to reconsider its decision to forcibly migrate traders from the VAT Flat Rate scheme to the standard rate scheme, describing it as discriminatory. GUTA, in a press release, insists that traders will not migrate to the standard rate scheme, thus calling on members to fiercely resist any attempt by revenue collectors to do so. You can see that on your screen excerpt of that statement as quoted by the president, saying that we will be compelled to vehemently defend our hard-earned working capital against further depletion, especially in this trying time when businesses all over the world are struggling to survive the global economic crisis. Thankfully, we have Dr. Joseph Obeng to help us explain. But of course, unfortunately, though, we have been trying to reach the Finance Ministry on this, and they've refused to comment. But let's bring on board Dr. Joseph Obeng, President of GUTA. Grateful, Doc, that you could join us. Let's put in proper context the reason for your fierce rejection of the standard rate scheme. What exactly is informing your rejection? Doc, if you could kindly unmute so we could hear you better. Yes, you're loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Because we cannot look on while we are going to lose our capital through a taxation. It is unfair. We have been paying a flat rate. It's government-owned initiative that migrated at all into the flat rate. First, we were doing side by side the standard rate and then the flat rate. But our government, through its own wisdom, saw to it that all of us come on board to do the flat rate. And we all migrated into the flat rate, big or small companies alike, for the trading community. And this is what we've been doing for the past 5 years. Now, if you migrate us to the standard rate, we are challenged. We are challenged because we don't have the input tax. You understand? Because we are charging the 3%, and then also the input that you pay through the port is also consumed by the government, and so by the flat rate we do not have the input tax. So if you migrate us all to the standard rate, it means that the standard rate also operates on input and output mechanism. Means that your input should be sorted out with the output before you pay the difference. Now, we are challenged to have the input tax. And then also, a tax should not be discriminatory. Now, they've put a threshold of 500,000. That is enabling some of our members to trade in the flat rate, while others are also being pushed to 18.5%. Whilst yet another portion of the market, people are not registered into the VAT. Means that there's no compulsion also on the part of the consuming public to forcibly buy and receive VAT invoice. And then they have the option, the discretion to buy from these three types of payment, the 18%, 4%, and then those who are not charged. How fair is it? There's no parity in here. It means that those of us who will be migrated to 18.5% are being edged out of business. It's as simple as that. How can we do that? And so the tax should not be punitive. Tax should bring fairness and parity to all of us. And so if they are migrating us, then they should migrate us all into standard. Or if they want us all to do the flat rate like they previously did for 5 years, then we are all in the flat rate. It ensures parity and fairness and equity. And this is all that we are saying. That if they migrate us to the 18.5 or to the standard rate, it means that we are completely being edged out of business, especially when we do not have the input tax. We do not have it, the input VAT, because for 5 years we have been stockpiling goods for 5 years, and without the input VAT. How are we going to charge from here? What are we going to do with our stock pile of goods? And then the technocrats know of this challenge. When you tell them, they say they are coming to take stock of all the goods. How can you take stock of all the goods, about 1 million traders in the country? It's not possible. And so we are saying that government should reconsider and then go through the issues again, and then we put it at a proper we put a proper solution to it.
I'm curious to find out, was there any consultation between leadership of GUTA, the GRA, and the Finance Ministry over this directive?
No, we heard it from the budget. And so in the budget, they said that they are migrating it. So we raised this issue. And seriously, we raised this issue with the Finance Minister, and he directed somebody to coordinate with us and GRA to sort out the grey issues or that, which have not been done. And now they are forcing everybody to migrate. And so the grey issues haven't been ironed out. The fact that we do not have input tax means that we cannot calculate input and output. It means that we cannot operate the standard flat rate. And of course, let me also tell you, much as they are forcing us to migrate into the standard rate, they are not also forcing all importers who give us, who supply us goods, to also be registered and pay the VAT. They have not done that. So most of the suppliers, those who travel abroad and bring the goods and supply to the retailers, are not handing any input VAT to them. And you haven't done all that. It means that we are working on a false premise, and it will not help. That's why, from Barbara's time, having recognized this challenge, they allowed us to be paying the flat rate. The flat rate did not come out of the blues. It came because it came to solve a problem, and a challenging problem like we are facing now.
Great.
And so it may not be fair for three systems of tax payment to be in the market, those that do not charge the VAT, those who charge 4%, and yet another one who charge 18.5% in line, in the same vicinity and the same line of business and all that.
I want to pull out your statement, which reads in part that we will be compelled to vehemently defend our hard-earned working capital against further depletion, especially in this trying time when businesses all over the world are struggling to survive the global economic crisis. What medium to long-term effect can this directive have on businesses of traders?
Yeah, it means that if you force me to pay a tax where I do not have the input tax, all that you are saying is that I should use my own resources to pay you, and which is never done. That's not how the VAT suggests us to do. VAT says the consumer should pay. And I shouldn't use, because I should have the input tax before I can be operative in the standard rate. And then also, I should be competitive in the market. That if you operate in the same vicinity, that the shop next to me is charging 4%. And then the one next to the other shop is not charging. And then I'm charging 18.5%. Are you not taking me out of business? Mm-hmm. Have they thought of this? Where is the fairness? There's no parity in here. And then there's no compulsion on the part of the consuming public that we are in the VAT system. So every Ghanaian should go and search for shops that are registered for VAT. There's no compulsion. So as I'm talking to you, the host, I know that you go to the market and you've bought so many goods without the VAT invoice. And so you have your discretion, you have your choice to make. And that if you are made to pay 4%, will you pay? You pay. And even worse, if you are made to pay 18.5%, will you pay? No. So you go searching for those who do not pay the VAT. So the person who is registered for the VAT payment is then being punished. And a tax shouldn't punish people. A tax shouldn't destroy people's businesses. And this is what we are talking about. And so there should be fairness and parity and equity. That's all that we seek.
We're grateful, Dr. Obin, President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, on this matter regarding the migration of traders from the VAT system to the standard rate system. We shall keep an eye on this to give you updates as and when.